I believe that we all have a deep-seated desire to connect. That we as human beings are collaborators and we are communicators. And in this room, we probably over-index on both of those qualities. But it is a human trait to connect, to be heard, to discuss, and to interact. When my co-founder and I met in 1998 at Real Networks as interns, we were both obsessed with what the internet could do to connect people. We saw immediately that this was a global phenomenon. And today, connection and the internet, for most people, is really about the mobile device in their hands. And within a couple of years, about half of those mobile devices are going to be smartphones. So that's somewhere on the order of 2.5 to 3 billion people around the world who are fundamentally connecting with everybody, the world around them, the people that matter, through these mobile devices. And that's super powerful because most of us have this problem/trait now, which is when you look at your phone and it's blinking red, like the battery is low, you look for an outlet, you get nervous. And when you go to bed at night, the last thing you check is that phone that you set up your alarm on. And it's so intimate. It is a piece of technology that goes with us and makes us nervous when it's not working correctly. But it's not really very personal today. The experiences that we have as mobile customers are not super personal. The opportunity for anybody who is a local marketer is to reintroduce that connection that happens in person. And the opportunity only really exists at scale on mobile. But today, the phenomenon and the experiences that we have mostly are head-scratching. So for example, you might be using a calendar app on your phone and be presented with something that interrupts you and says, hey, are you enjoying this? And what's crazy about this is they ask you this question and they give you no way to tell them an answer right here. So you're on this small screen, they've interrupted you, and then you can't do anything about it. They say, oh, why don't you go to our Windows feedback app and give us some feedback? That's exactly what you want to do right now. That's why you opened up the calculator and trying to do a calculation. They do things like when we're on our devices and we're on Twitter and we're trying to get help that are so ham-handed, they frustrate all of us. So for example, you've probably seen a lot of these where they say, hey, help me, and the brand responds, this is the USPS, and they say, oh, I'm here, what can I do for you? I need some help tracking this package, I can't get it. Great, DM us your shipping number. I can't DM you, you're not following me. Great, tell us your shipping number, please DM us. I can't tell you, you're not following me, and on it goes. And this person is probably on a mobile device and they're getting more and more frustrated because the only screen they're looking at, the only connection they have with this brand says that they're not actually being listened to. And it's not just about these scenarios that are obvious about interaction and feedback. It's about the scenarios that you have to communicate around anything that you do. Increasingly, every touch point is a communications opportunity, and you can either do it well or you can look like this. And I know for myself that I have less and less tolerance for this. Look at your phones. Now look at me. Now look at your phones. One of you just got a push notification from somebody like this. This is not acceptable. This is not personal. This is the state of the world right now. The opportunity to connect with people does not look like spamming them at 3 o'clock because you have a campaign. People think that this works because we are too busy to complain. We do not have the time for the people who bother us. We will not invest the effort it takes to tell them that they suck. We will just leave. I see a lot of heads nodding, right? There's some giggles around you. Every week you are probably leaving a company because it's annoyed the crap out of you. Every week you are probably uninstalling an app. You've just had enough. The state of the world today is, generally speaking, abysmal as a consumer. We see too many messages that are irrelevant and interruptive, and people take too many liberties with the opportunity to be connected with us while not thinking hard enough about the ramifications, which are that I hate you more every day. But in local, you can make lives better on a regular basis. You can connect with them in person. It's part of the reason why the local industry is so amazing, because there's so many people on the street who help out that give you solutions that make you feel heard and listened to. Local search is definitely helping, right? It helps sometimes with the problems that I have in my life, but it's not good enough today. It's not giving me enough information. It's not solving enough of my problems. And the reality is, when you think and you design and you act around mobile, and all of you should because it's clearly going to be the bulk of humanity using mobile devices and connecting, you have to realize that there are two guiding principles. The first is immediacy. I want it now, faster. If the only thing you ask your teams to think about for the next 2 years is just, can we make it faster? Is our app going to be faster? Can we shrink the clicks? Can our mobile experience be faster? If you only did that for 2 years, you would probably be miles ahead of all your competitors. This matters more than anything. We expect it to happen now. We are little children screaming for better experiences, and we are not going to stop. But we also really want to be touched. We want that emotional connection. We want it to feel like it's for us and it's special, because when it does feel that way, man, it's amazing. When you get through an experience that is so awesome, like the first time you used Uber, that it just seemed to make the whole rest of the world disappear and you solved a problem and you had nothing to do or worry about, man, that's special. And that's the opportunity. The difference between the customer expectations and the experiences that are being delivered has a lot to do with reframing the way that we think about delivering experiences. It has a lot to do with the fact that we have a traditional customer journey. Many of you probably map around these things on a regular basis. You design them. And when you design them, you make a set of assumptions, especially if you're marketing on the web. And those set of assumptions go, okay, X thousand people got to my site. I know Y thousand of them. The rest of them cleared their cookies. I can't assume that they're the same person when they came back. I always have to start from ground zero for the majority of my audience. When you design for mobile, that is not the case. You get to actually assume that it is me. It's me on my device, it's me in my app, and that changes everything. Because then you can start to take liberties about building a relationship. You can start to take liberties about assuming that the conversation you started last week can continue this week and continue next week, and you can make progress. And you know what's really awesome about that? That's just like a local business. When I walk into that coffee shop and they see me week after week and they start to guess my drink and they know my name, you can make those assumptions again on mobile. For 15 or 20 years, we as marketers have not been able to make those assumptions. Now we can. That's the opportunity. So for example, early stages of the journey around discovery can be influenced by just taking somebody by the hand and sending them a little message, or surveying them to find out about their experience, or to prompt them to do something, to tell you something, or just send a little note, like thank you for being a customer. You can do these things in mobile because you can expect that you know the person you're connecting with on the other end. That assumption gives you a superpower that does not really exist on the web today. And that superpower plays into the hands of local businesses that are driven through experience, that are driven through connections, that are driven through relationships. Now notice I did not tell you that you should send a lot of push notifications. This is the #1 reason that people uninstall apps, and it's growing. 3 years ago, it was number 5 on this list. Last year, it's #1. It's going to stay #1, and it's going to increasingly be noisy and messy and frustrating. Be careful when you use notifications. Be careful when you think about interruptions. In general, in life as a marketer, I encourage you to think a lot more about how to be proactive, to find opportunities to reach out where you can actually connect and you can listen. Those moments where you say to somebody that you listen, that you care about their opinion, are the moments where you can hack connections using digital tools. Because I love being heard. My opinion matters. It feels awesome to be asked for it. It feels even more amazing to be told that you listened. Those are the things you can do. Now, specific piece of advice around surveys: if you start to use surveys on mobile, realize that small screens mean small attention spans. On average, our data across about 500 million devices says 3 questions or less. That's what you have permission for. Don't make them required. Why? I'm busy. I'm doing other stuff. I'm on a small screen. I'm not going to be patient enough to take a 15-question survey with all of them being required and several of them being open text fields. I don't have that patience. You haven't won me that much. Be proactive. Go do special things for people. Tell them thank you out of the blue. Oh, you just made a purchase? You just transacted some business with me? Oh, you just successfully added something to your search cart? Oh, you just signed up and gave me a registration email? Thank you. That's awesome. Great. Here, let me give you something. These are opportunities, again, to hack connections, to cut through the noise and make somebody feel special the way that you could the first time they showed up at your store. Emily did a much better job than I telling you about local search tactics and how to think about deep linking and app packs. So I'm just here to reinforce. This makes consumers feel loved too, because it simplifies their journey, because it shows up unexpectedly and it delights you and it works really well. And if you're not trying to play in this game, you're missing out on a lot of the future, which is personalization and relevant experiences. And thinking about the paid search opportunities and how your apps display is really, really important to delivering an end-to-end experience for that customer who is mobile and needs a solution really quickly. The last point, and I think the most important one, is again, this is the most personal device we have ever owned. This does not leave my side, it does not leave your sides, it does not leave your customer's sides. They are one and the same at this point. So you have to make it human. You have to treat the people on the other end of the screen as human beings, and you have to think about designing experiences that aren't frustrating, that don't say, give me feedback, but no, really, don't give me feedback. That don't pop up exactly when I'm trying to check into my flight on Delta and say, hey, why don't you sign up for an SMS or an email survey right now? No, I'm literally in line, I'm trying to check in right now. No, that's not what I want. Or, oh, hi, sorry to bug you. Well, if you thought you were bugging me, why'd you do it? Think harder about the experiences and when you're going to connect with people. Think harder about the places where you can give warm fuzzies, where you can delight people, asking very simple questions after an action's been taken. Thinking about a really easy way for them to talk to you that feels lightweight. Thinking about ways to communicate that you're thankful for their attention, their time, appreciating them, connecting with the human side of the person on the other end, using words that we tend to be a little bit afraid of, like love. Being effusive with apologies. When people are frustrated, saying sorry is the best thing you can do. Look for the moments where you can give love, where you can get people to feel the warm fuzzies. This is what mobile gives you. This is the opportunity. And when you reframe your thinking around the idea that the mobile device and the person are the same, and you can make that assumption, I guarantee you your design of experiences will be different. You will win more loyal customers. They will say things like, I love you on a regular basis. And it will feel like cheating. In short, learn their journey, get proactive, think hard about local search tactics, and watch as they evolve, humanize your experience. And then there's one last thing. This is a favor I ask of you. I promise it will be weird for a couple weeks, and then we'll start feeling cool. Stop using the term users. We are not users. We are people who use the software that you make. We are people first, designed for me as a person, and I will love you back. Thank you.